This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to the class. I believe you all can see the screen and hear me. Today let's get started understanding version control system. Like what is a version control system, right? Why do we need a version control system? Let's get started with this. So yeah, let's try to understand what is a version control system. Some of you might be using a version control system. So any idea from anyone, what is a version control system? Why do we need it? Where do we use it? Anyone? Okay, see, version control system is used to manage or to version control your files. A project may be having many static files, right? So let's take a development project. They might be writing a lot of program files, a lot of Java programs or C# programs, Perl, PHP scripts, whatever it is. Or else if you are a tester, even automation test scripts may be written, right? There might be so many test cases, test scripts written, right? Or else if you're an ops person or DevOps person, you might be having so many configuration files. So all these files should be version controlled, should be secured properly, should be backed up properly. All of that will be taken care by version control system. To understand this in more detail, let's take an example. Suppose there is a project, all the remote work is kept on this, like all the project work is kept on remote, right? Like there were so many program files here or configuration files like file 1, file 2, and so on. There are multiple people working on it. There could be a DevOps team or developer team, whatever, whoever it is, person A, person B are working on it. Let's say at some point of time, both of them have to work on the same file. So developer A got this file 1 to his local computer. Similarly, developer 2, like a person B also got the same file to his local computer, make the modifications. And let's say this person A kept this file back on day 1. Okay, developer 2, like a person B places changes on day 2. So the file 1 on remote will have which person changes at the end. Person A has placed his changes on day 1. Person 2 has placed his changes on day 2. So finally, this file 1 after 2 days will have which person changes? Which person changes will be available here? Yes. Obviously, person B changes, isn't it? What is happening here? Person B changes are overwriting the person A changes, isn't it? So person A changes were being overwritten by person B changes. Person B doesn't know this. Even person A doesn't know this. This is happening unknowingly without any consciousness. So if this keep on happening, the project goes into messed up state, right? The project gets messed up. It may be corrupted. So this is not how it should work. So how to handle this scenario? Here I'm talking about a scenario where we are not using any version control system. So what a version control system can do? Version control system can help developers or people work simultaneously on the project, because there might be a team of group of people. A same person may be working on same file. How can it help in overwriting? Means how can it help the file saved securely without being overwritten? That is possible through version control system. Means it allows people to work simultaneously, to work parallelly. Also, it can help you maintain a detailed log. I believe you all know what is a logging, right? See, suppose something, let's say application is working good till 7 a.m. Something went wrong and from 7:15 application is not working fine. The application went down, business is going down. Immediately we need to remove the changes which happened, which led to this. How do we know what happened in between? That's where logging comes into picture. A detailed logging, like when a change was made at 7:10 a.m. by person A on line number 5 on file 2. So if this kind of logging is there, which person made what changes on which line at what time, so we could remove those changes and bring the application back, right? So how is this kind of detailed logging possible? Can you do that? Either a DevOps team or developer team, they'll be working on the logic, they'll be working on the files and all. We cannot sit and maintain this log and all, right? So again, that's where version control system comes in, which maintains a very detailed logging, a clear and cluster logging, so that at later point of time, if you want to look in back, look at some point, look at some changes, this is how it's helpful, right? Not only that, it also helps in maintaining backup of the files. Let's suppose, okay, you are working on file 2, it was version 1. Okay, then client came up with some modifications. We have overwritten the same file and made version 2. After 6 months, client may just want to go back to older version. But older version is no more. We have overwritten it, we have made changes to the existing version. Again, don't ever do that. Always maintain versions. You should maintain version 1, also maintain version 2. Maintain backups, maintain versions. So at any point of time, if they want to go back, we can revert the changes. So this is another version control system, helps you maintain backup of the files, maintain the versions of the files. All these are taken care by a version control system. So who uses this? Yes, anyone can use it. A developer can use it, tester team, QA team can use it, ops teams may use it. Yeah, now DevOps team may use it, because see, developers, yes, it's mandatory for developers. They write a lot of program files which can be version controlled. Similarly, testers also have automation test scripts which need to be version controlled. Ops teams, yes, they do have configuration files. DevOps teams, yes, we have a lot of Terraform config files, Ansible files, Kubernetes YAML files, all of them should be version control. So who should learn version control system? Everyone in IT should learn version control system, right? Any files can be version controlled by it. Any static files, any program files, any simple text files also can be version controlled. So everyone should learn it, how to manage your project work with a version control system. right? So first we'll be learning it from the perspective of managing our code base. Then we'll also learn it to include it in our CI/CD pipeline. So that is the agenda. First we'll learn how to manage our files with version control system. Then we'll learn how to integrate it in the pipeline. Understood everyone now what is a version control system, who should learn it, and why we are learning it?
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
questions, confusions, please let me know. So yeah, that's what is a version control system. Okay, fine. We have learned what a version control system is. And based on their architecture, actually they were categorized as such. Centralized version control systems and distributed version control system. Right? What is a centralized version control system and what is a distributed one? See, a centralized version, like I said, yes, they are version control system. Based on the architecture, they were categorized. Like if you look into centralized version control system, there is a central server or a remote repository, whatever you call it. All the project work is kept here, and this is the workstation of each individual DevOps person or a developer, whoever it is. Okay, this is the workstation of each person. They will be connecting to this remote server or the central server, get the changes to their local computer, make the changes, put it back. So this is how this centralized version control system works, and there are few drawbacks. See, to work with this kind of architecture, always there should be network connection, isn't it? For some reasons, there is no network connectivity. You cannot connect to the remote server, entire work is halted, right? So you always need network connectivity to work in such kind of version control systems. Also, if the central server is lost or crashed for some reasons, entire data is lost because it works like a single source of truth, right? These are the two drawbacks you have with this kind of architecture, and there are certain version control systems which implements this architecture, like TFS, SVN, SVN, TFS, and then you have Perforce. All these version control systems comes under centralized architectures, like centralized version control systems. So to overcome the drawbacks of centralized version control systems, we have something called distributed architecture. Right. So yeah, let's talk about the distributed architecture now. See here, if you see, yes, again you have a central server or remote server, and this is the workstation of each individual DevOps person or each individual developer, whoever it is, or whichever project it is, right? So this is the workstation of each individual, and if you notice here, everyone is having his own copy of the remote, which is called as local repository. This is called as remote repository or central repository. This is called as a local repository. Every individual is having his own local repository. Means in distributed version control systems, there are two repositories, central repository and the local repository. Local repository is nothing but a copy of it. Everyone will have a copy of remote in their local computer. Again, they don't work here. They work in some other directory. If you are Linux person, it's a directory or a folder for Windows guys. So whether you call it as a folder or a directory, there'll be one more directory where actual work happens. And from there you push to local. From local, you push your changes to remote. Until your changes goes to remote, your changes are confined with the local repository. Your changes are confined only with the local repository. You are just working here, right? So until you push your changes to remote, no one else can see the changes. They're confined only for yourself. Okay, so it's a three times, like three steps before your changes go to remote, from working directory to local, from local to remote. So how it overcomes the drawbacks of centralized version control system? Yes, it overcomes because You don't need network connectivity. You need network connectivity only to connect to remote. Suppose there is no network connectivity. You can still work on local repository. Entire work is not halted. You need network connectivity only to push or to pull, which are less frequent commands, because you push only once complete work is done. You pull once in a while, right? So, I mean, you push once in a while and you pull whenever your code is ready. So yeah, this is even though network connection is not there, you can still continue the work. Entire work is not halted here, right? So that's one advantage of this kind of architecture. And the other one is, yeah, even though the central server remote repository is gone, still chances are there because everyone is having their own copy of local repository. Chances of recovery are more. Understood the concept here? Right? So you push or pull once in a while. You push the code to remote once complete code is ready from your end. And you pull once in a while, maybe weekly once or so. So they are less frequent commands. Most of the work happens in the local repository here, means in the local workstation. So local workstation means it's your own computer. So obviously you can also work faster. So these are the differences between centralized and distributed version control systems. And distributed version control system is the one which is used in the modern DevOps projects, right? So yes, Git comes under this distributed version control system. Git, Mercurial, Fossils, all this comes under distributed version control systems. Understood everyone? Got it clear? Any questions in this part? Is the architecture of both clear for you?
Yes, clear.
Right. So yeah, now that we understood the architecture of both, okay, there's a question from Swaroop. Bitbucket also version control. Bitbucket, GitHub, these are not version control systems. Those are online management system to host your local repositories like Git. See, means your Bitbucket, your GitHub works like this remote repository, right? This is your GitHub or Bitbucket. So how it works, like what is your remote, how this Bitbucket can work as remote repository we learn. In simple, they're online management systems where you can host your local repositories. Okay, we'll be learning GitHub so you can understand the difference. So for now, yep.
What is the
The
difference between GitHub and GitLab?
GitHub, GitLab both works like a remote repositories, and GitLab has some additional feature like you can also do continuous integration with GitLab. That's the additional feature you have with the GitLab. Like Jenkins, it can work like a Jenkins for continuous integration process. Apart from hosting local repositories, it can also work like a continuous integration server.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So now that we understood this architecture, let's talk about, yeah, see, we were also talking about Git, right? Why not other tools? If you see the graph, this is the latest Google trend report. Okay, you can see the difference here. Git is the blue graph. Yes, Git is very widely used when compared with the other tools. You can see the graph. Git is a clearly winner in the category. Majority of the modern DevOps projects, most of the DevOps projects we can say uses Git. So if you learn Git, if you master Git, yes, you can work with any other version control system if required. Okay. So yeah, we'll be learning Git from the basics. Like I have started from what is a version control system architecture, then we'll get into the hands-on. We'll be going from basics to all advanced concepts. If you learn this Git thoroughly, you can answer any interview question. You can work in your projects also independently with Git. So keep that in mind. So learn it thoroughly. So yeah, okay, now we have learned the architecture of distributed version control system in general. Now let's talk about the architecture of Git in particular. See here, this is the architecture of Git. Like I said, yes, you have a local repository. and you have a remote. Okay, so yeah, again in your local repository, if you see, like I said some time back, there's a working directory where you will do the actual work and you move your changes to local repository. But it's not that directly you move your changes from here to here. No, this is not possible. Then then how do you move your changes to local? It's a three steps you move your changes to local. Firstly, your changes will be moved from working directory to staging area. And what is the staging area, by the way? Staging area is nothing but, it is also called as index area or staging area. It's a virtual layer. Okay. Before you move your changes to local, first of all, you should place them in staging area. From staging area to local. Like I said just a few seconds back, this is not possible. You cannot move your changes directly from working directory to staging area. No, that's not possible. You have to place it first in the staging area, then local repository. And the staging area is a virtual layer. It's called index area, index layer. Okay, and what is the importance of it? Does it have any importance? Why should we place changes in staging area? Yes, it is like a preview or else pre-check before your changes goes to local. Right? It works like a preview or a pre-check kind of before your changes goes to local. Because of this index area, you have a better control on which changes goes to local. Means let me give a small example. You will see all this on the lab. Don't worry. Okay, I'm just giving you an understanding before we step into the lab. Suppose you have 10 files here. You want only 5 files to go to local. You will be adding only those 5 files to staging area. Okay. So meaning it will help you to have better control on which changes goes to local repository. Is that making sense? Understood everyone? Clear?
Yes, clear.
So yeah, from working directory you move to staging area, from staging area to local, and then from local to only you can move to remote. Okay, so that's a 3 steps before your changes goes to remote. Only if you place your changes remote, other team members can see your changes. If you don't push to remote, if they are just in local repos, it's confined only for yourself because that's your workstation. Okay, so this is the architecture of Git. Here there are some interesting points. Let me tell you those. Yeah, till now we were talking about working directory is a folder where you actually make changes and then push to local. Strictly speaking, this working directory, local repository, is physically the same directory. Means it's the same folder. Then how come you are saying it's working directory and local repository? Yes, physically it's the same folder, but logically it's different. Means how it is. See, let's say this is your folder. This is my working directory. The same is my local repository. How can you say the same as local? Yes. See, if you just created a file here, or if you just placed a file here, means it is set to be in the working directory. After placing the file, if you run the command, git, we'll learn the commands later. If you add this file to staging area, means if you run git add command, then it is set to be in the staging area. Then if you put that into local repository by commit, then it is set to be in local. Otherwise, that's the same folder. Making sense, everyone? Now imagine that it overlaps. Working directory or local repository overlaps on one another. It's the same folder. Physically it's the same. Your file is always in the same folder, but logically we say sometimes the file is in the working directory, sometime later we say it's in the staging area and in the local repository. Got this point, everyone? Understood the logic? See, Git will be really very interesting. Initially, for a beginner, it may be a bit tricky, but if you learn it carefully with clarity, yes, it's very easy. Understood this point? I will show you practically in some time, okay, how can the same folder can be called as a working directory, local repository. We'll see all of that in some time. So that is one thing. Can I go for the next point or anything should I re-explain here? Okay, I believe that's clear for everyone. If any questions, let me know. So that's one thing. The next thing is, okay, you have a remote repository, you have local. How do you create local repositories? How is local repository created? There are multiple use cases. One use case could be, okay, it's an older project. It's a project from 6 years. I just joined the team. Okay, project work, all the program files are kept on remote. Okay, all the project files, all the programs were kept on remote. So you just can copy from remote and create a local repository. That's one way. Copy and create a local using like git pull or git clone commands are there. So you copy and create it. Another thing is maybe the use case is different now. Let's say it's a completely new project. You have nothing on remote. Okay, you don't have anything on remote. So you may be creating an empty local repository manually, develop the code base, then move to remote and create a remote. That's another scenario, another use case. Right? There are multiple use cases how you can create your local repository depending on the particular scenario. So we will look into both of them. We'll get started with the second one first. Imagine it's a new project, there's nothing on remote. So we create a local empty repository, develop the files there, then move to remote. Okay, then we'll see the first scenario. Okay, so that's about the architecture and few things you have to understand. Yeah, now if you have got an idea, we shall go and install Git and start with the hands-on. So yeah, see, Git works on multiple operating systems. Like it works on Linux, Windows, Mac also. Okay, the way you install Git is different, that's all. Once Git is installed, the Git commands are same on any operating system. Only installation differs. Okay, so first we shall start installing and working with Git on Windows. And once you are comfortable with it, you could use it on any operating system. Anyway, in the coming sessions, we'll also install it on our Linux box, right? So first let us install Git on our Windows. So how to install Git? Let us see. Just go to Google, give download Git. See, you have the URL to do that. I have placed all the URLs in the drive, but always follow this approach because the URL may be changing. So if you follow the approach, you need not save those links and all. So go to download. See here, depending on which operating system you want to install, whether you want to install it on Mac or Windows or Linux, you can choose that. Ours is Windows. So download the Windows executable file. Once you download this executable file, run the executable file. By now, every one of you might have got access to this Git folder, which is on Google Drive. Okay, this has all the steps of Git installation in every operating system, the additional official references. This gitscm.com is the official references for Git. Okay, all of them is available here. So Git references, if you go here for Git references, yes. Okay, how do you install Git on Windows? About the editor I'll talk about later, and the repositories on which you are working, everything is there, but that's okay. So now come to installation on Windows. Once you download the executable on Windows, you have to run the executable, and here are all the steps including the screenshots. On Windows, it's very easy to install, you know, like how you just download and run any executable, right? So follow those steps. I have already installed it, so I cannot reinstall. That's why I'm showing you this. Once you click on this Windows, you will get an executable like this. Do you see this executable git 2 dot some version number and all? Just double click it. It will be asking to continue through the wizard by hitting S and next. That's all. You should keep on giving next, next, and finish. That's it. That's all. Git will be installed. So once this Git is installed, you could launch from your command line. I mean, launch from your start menu, type in git bash. Git bash is a command line interface which is installed when you install Git. So launch it. Okay, open this git bash. Right? It just works like your command line. Okay, this is your git bash where you can run all the git commands from the command line. Also you can run in Windows. So yeah, we shall start working with Git. Before that, I would like to tell you something. See here, we are using Windows system, right? So in Windows, if you want to work with a file system, like if you want to work with the files and folders, let's say you want to create a folder, or if you want to create any file, you just double click and do it from the GUI, right? The same can be done from the command line also. I believe you are aware of it. Yeah, in Windows, you can do everything from the CLI as well. And for some practice, use CLI. Prefer CLI over the GUI. Means if you want to create a folder, rather than right click here, create a folder from the GUI, rather than doing this way, you do it from this git bash command line or command prompt. So that you get used slowly to the command line experience, which you have to use in Linux. As we progress, we'll be going to Linux systems. There we'll be using only command line because majority of the Linux systems have only CLI, command line. So start practicing it. Okay, slowly, day by day, we'll be learning few commands. Anyway, I'll teach you everything on Linux. But in Windows also, rather than using the GUI, start using the CLI so that you get some more familiarity. Okay, so what you should do first of all to start working with Git, say Git is installed on my system. If you want, you can check the version, simply Git version. Okay, Git is installed. Now I want to version control some folder. So firstly, create some folder. I'm doing it from GUI. Let's say Git demo is the folder. Go to this folder from your Git bash. How do you go that? How do you do that? Just open this folder, copy the address. CD means change directory. See here, prompt shows where were you. You are in the Git demo folder. There is nothing. ls will list the files and folders present in this folder. Actually, we don't have anything here. Okay, that's how you can create a folder, and you can also create the folder for command line. I'll show you that later. So yes, Git demo is created. You can see the folder here. Perfect. Now, okay, I want to version control this folder with Git. So whichever folder you want to version control with the Git, go to that folder and run the command called git init. Do you see what happened at the backend? Can you all visualize it? What is happening at the backend? Whenever you do git init, means it is initializing Git, initializing empty Git repository, dot git will be created. Means dot git is created means this git demo is nothing but your local repository. Local repository is created. I told you, right? You can create local repository in two ways. One way is assume there is nothing on remote and create local repository, empty local repository. So this is how you do. And whichever project, whichever folder having dot git means that is nothing but your local repository. Means yes, this git demo folder is your local repository. Okay, you can create any files and folders here. Understood? Am I making sense? Okay, now I want to version control certain files. Yes, tell me.
No, no, I said that it is clear.
Okay, okay. So here there were no file set. Okay, we want to create some files and version control them with Git. So yeah, let's create some file. You can create some file by going to the folder, click on new. You know how to create any file this way. Or else through the command line, if you want to create, you can use touch command. This is a Linux command. Slowly we'll be learning one or two Linux commands so that as we progress, we get a familiarity and we'll learn a lot of commands. So this is one way you can create a file. You may create any file of your choice if you are into programming, Java program, C program, Perl script, Python script, Shell script, any file. Here our intention is to not to learn any scripting as of now. As of now, our interest is to version control the files. So any text file is also fine. I'm creating a simple text file. See, that will create a file. You can open the file by double click here and write something. Okay, let's say this is a new file. Okay, and let us save it. It will be saved. Okay, now, okay, fine, I have a file. Is git version controlling it? How do you know? Do git status. See, git status command tells you untracked file. Means git know there is a file, but git is not tracking it. And git is asking me to add. So can you tell me where is this file one now? Some time back I told you just created a file or you just placed a file there means it is set to be in. Where is the file now? File1.txt. Of course,
It,
physically it's present in git demo. Logically, where is it set to be?
it's in the
Local
local
directory.
staging area.
It is in the working directory. It's not in the local repository. Just recollect, just created the file means where is it? Physically it's in git demo, but where is it? Just created it means it is set to be in the working directory. Am I correct? We just
Yeah.
created the file. I didn't run git add. So where is the file? Physically it's in the git demo folder. Logically it's set to be in the working directory. So I means see, always relate your understanding with this architectural diagram. It's in the working directory. So that's why it's asking me to add. What should I do now? Git add file name. Okay, now see the status. Now can you tell me where is the file? Where is the file? It was not telling untracked because it was tracking. It was asking me to commit. It is asking to commit. To be committed means where is it? When you add it, where is the file? Where does the file goes when you do git add?
Staging area.
Yeah.
Staging area. It is in the
Yes.
staging area. Yes. So ls will show the files in the folder. Git ls files will show the files in the local repository and staging area. Yes, it was in the staging area. Now, if you want to put it in the local repository, git commit -m, new file. Some m means message, some message. Done. Now, if you check the status, now can you tell me where is the file?
It's
Local
I think
repo.
it, yeah.
If a file is in the local repository now.
Yeah.
Understood how the file navigates. File is in the same folder. It is here. See, physically it's here. You can see physically it's the same place. But logically, this is how a file navigates from local repository to working directory to staging area, and then from staging area to local repository. Now one file is there in working directory, git ls files. Okay, one file is in the local repository. Shall we repeat it with another file so that things should be clear for each and every one? Let us create one more file, file2.txt. So you can see at the back end, yes, file is created. You could also edit the file through command line. We will learn command line operations later. For now, just open it and say This is a second file. Okay, so now what now? Yes, here is the file. Now tell me, where is this file to? Where is this file to?
Working directory.
Working directory.
Work,
We just placed the file, means it is said to be in the working directory. Always keep this architectural diagram in your mind and answer accordingly. Okay, it's in the working directory. That's why git ls files is showing only file 1. It's not showing file 2. Now you can also check the status. It says untracked file. Untracked file means git know there is a file, but git cannot track it. So what you should do? Git add file 2. Now where is the file? Now
Staging
where
area.
is the file? In the staging
staging
area.
area.
Staging area. So what you have to do? Git add file 2. Oh, I already added it, right? So that's why it's in the staging. It's asking me to commit. So what should I do? Git commit some message, let's say second file or whatever, some message. Now if you check the status, yes, do you see that it's clean? Means now the second file is also added to the staging area. Now if you do git status, yes, it's already clean, and you could also see git ls files, right? Now both the files are there. Got it, everyone? Understood? So that's how you were for working file. The justification is done now, right? Like I told you, the same folder. This git demo is nothing but your local repository. This git demo is nothing but your working directory. It's one and the same. Logically, this is how it is different. Interesting, isn't it? So yeah, we were placing all our changes were there in local. We didn't go to remote repository yet. How to go to remote? What is your remote? We'll be looking into that part as well. Okay. Any questions in this part from anyone?
No.
So yeah, files were added to working directory, staging area, and local. So here, if you notice, each time we have created some new file, right? So it's not always about new files. Sometimes we may also have to modify the files, isn't it? You may have to edit the files. So let us see modifying the files this time. Means let's take an existing file. There is a file already, file 1. Let's suppose I just want to modify something. So how does git works then? Let us see. Suppose in this file I'll add a new line added. Maybe if you want, you can add some scripts, you can add some code if you want. Here we are least bothered about the content of the files and the scripting and all. So I'm just writing some dummy line accordingly, like as per your interest, you can write the contents of the file. So I made some modification. What would be the status message telling us? Any guess from your end? What it will tell? See, get status message. Let's run and see. What is that? Haven't we saved 1 minute? We made some change to the file. See, actually, changes were not saved. 1 minute. Let me write here. What is this Vim editor? I'll tell you later. This is nothing but editor in Linux. Okay, this is how you edit. Let me save it. I'll teach you this editor later. Just for adding a line, I have added something. Now, if you see, do you see that? It is telling you changes not staged. Changes not staged. What does it mean? See, earlier, if it is a new file, it was showing like untracked. Untracked means Git is not at all tracking this file, but now it's not an untracked, only certain changes were not staged, certain modifications were not staged. See, remember one thing, Git always works with respect to changes. Okay, the change could be creating a file, the change could be deleting a file, the change could be modifying a file. It could be anything. So whatever it is, the change should be first in the staging area, then it should be added to first it will be in working directory, then to the staging area, then to the local. It may be a modification, it may be a deleting a file, or it may be creating a file, whatever it is. This is how Git works. So you made a modification. The modification is not staged, means it is unstaged. Unstaged means where is it? Where are the modifications?
The working directory.
Working directory. So obviously what you have to do, like I said, Git works with respect to change. You have to add it, you have to commit it. But the difference is it's not saying untracked. Untracked means file itself is not tracked. But here it's not a new file. It is being tracked already. Only certain modifications. So we'll say it is like a not staged, unstaged. Got the difference between unstaged and untracked changes? This is important from the point of interview as well. To know your real expertise, they may be asking what is the difference between untracked and unstaged changes. When do you see the message like unstaged and untracked? Unstaged means not staged. Can anyone answer this? We just learned it. So when do you see
Yeah, untracked means if you create a file, it is not in the staging mode. It is a untracked. If you save the file, if you know update the changes, and then it is tracked and it is not unstaged.
See, untracked you will see for only for new files. New files means it's not at all there in the staging area. Unstaged means file is there in the staging area, but certain modifications. Okay. So what you have to do again, you can do git add git commit, or else because it's not a new file, you can also do this with a single command. Git commit -a means add and commit. You can also do with a single command this way for unstaged changes only. If it is untracked, you have to do separately only git add git commit. Got it? This you can do for untracked, also for unstaged. You can do either ways, but for this is only for unstaged. Means for unstaged you can use separately or in one command also. But for untracked, you should do only separately. Got the point, all of you? So which command we should use now? Which one shall we use? You can use either
Anyone.
way. Separately you can do git add git commit, or else git commit -a is also fine because it is unstaged change. So I will do in a one command. So git commit, add and commit some message, let's say file edited or something like this. Now it will be added and committed. And if you see the status, yes, right? Got it, all of you? So that's how you make your changes, move your changes from working directory to staging area to local. Clear will clear your screen. Okay, clear is another command which will clear your screen. Until now we have run the commit command multiple times. How many times did we run the commit command till now? Each time you run the commit command, each time you commit, a commit ID will be generated. Commit ID is alphanumeric. It's unique for each commit. You can see the complete commit history with a git log command. See, every commit will be generating this hash code. It's a unique for each commit. This is what is a commit history. I told you, right? It will also provide you logging. Detailed logging, including the timestamp, like the author, person who made the changes. I have given some dummy details. The timestamp, Wednesday, September 14th, 8:10, the system time, and the commit message. Right? You can see the detailed log of the changes happening. Also, if you just want to see a brief log, not a detailed log, only one line log, git log one line, only brief log, only first 7 characters are enough to refer the commit. So commit message is important because after 2 months, if I just want to see and understand, okay, what this commit is doing, what happened in this commit, your commit message should give you some information. So that's why give some meaningful message so that you could understand what that commit ID or commit message is doing.
Uh, uh, so what could be the message in the real-time scenario?
Same, like depending upon your actual change. Let's say I made a change to create a new deployment object. So you'll be writing deployment object created. Or else, let's say a developer is working with it. Developer have fixed a bug. So bug fixed. This commit is about a message could be bug fix, a bug number like 2079 bug fixed. Some message, a meaningful message, so that you could understand at a later point of time what that change could be.
Got
So that's about the log and adding staging, adding to, first placing it in the working directory, adding to staging area and committing. And if you want to see the commands, whichever you have used till now, use history command. Okay, history command will show you the complete list of commands. Like git init means git is already installed and you are initializing a directory for version controlling. Git init touch to create a file, git status, git add, git commit. I repeated it for 3 times, 2 new files and 1 modification. So the same commands repeated across. Okay. And by the way, yeah, we have seen modifying a file, right? How do you edit a file? Like if it is a Windows, you open this file, double click and you may modify. How do you do it in Linux or from the command line? You have an editor called Vim. Editor means a way to modify the file, isn't it? Like you have Notepad is an editor, Notepad++ is an editor. Similarly, Vim is an editor. So we editor and the file name. It will open this file in an edit mode. See, at the bottom you just see the file name means it's in the command mode. If you want to edit something, escape I means at the bottom, see here, it comes into insert mode. Again escape, it goes into command mode. You cannot type anything in the command mode. Escape I, insert mode, escape, command mode. Understood? You can toggle between them. Escape I, you get into insert mode. Simply escape, you get into command mode. You cannot type anything. Now I want to edit, so escape I. Now your cursor is here. See, I give enter, a new line added, again something like this. So you write, you edit your file. Then how do you save it and close it? Again escape, colon, WQ, exclamatory. I repeat, escape. Okay. When you go to escape means at the bottom you can type colon WQ exclamatory. It will be saved and stored. If you just want to see the content of the file, cat command. Cat is another simple Linux command. So here you can, cat means it will show you the content of the file. Those are the 2 lines you have in the file. So see, it's nothing but nothing complex or nothing advanced concepts here. It's a simple editing a file, like you edit your files in Windows. Only the thing is, it's a new environment. A little practice, with a little practice, you should be all set. Simple practice will help you. So can you do practice this? You don't need to go to Linux system, install Git on from your Git bash. You can practice all this. Can you all try doing it? If you are already into Linux, that's well and good. If you are new to Linux, yes, this is how you can practice Vim editor commands, cat command, ls command, simple commands, cd command. These are the commands we have used today. ls command, cd command, Vim editor, editing and saving the file. There are a lot many things you can do with Vim. We'll learn one by one slowly. Then we have learned cd command, Vim command, ls command, cat command, and then which commands we have seen? Clearing the screen, and then history command to see the list of all the commands. That's all, 6 commands. Just learn them slowly, okay? 2 commands, 3 commands daily, very simple commands, so that you get used to the Linux environment. So got it, everyone? Am I clear with this?
It's clear, madam.
So initially, if you are completely beginner to Linux, if you are feeling it very difficult to use Vim editor, okay, forget about all these commands for now. Okay, we can learn these commands later after learning Git. What you can do is you just concentrate on Git commands. Ignore this completely if you feel a completely newbie, or if you feel it's difficult for you, you just concentrate only Git. Only git add, git commit, only that one. You create the files from the GUI. That is also perfectly fine. Where is our folder? You just do it from the GUI. That is perfectly fine. Slowly you get used to it.
So
Okay.
module 2 Linux also will be part of the course, right? So it will start after the Git.
Yes. After Git,
Okay.
we'll be starting Linux separately. That's why I'm just introducing small commands. If you are okay, you can practice. If you feel difficult, put it on hold. After Git, we'll learn them separately. But if you can
Okay.
cope up, yes, practice small Linux commands. Okay. And so whatever
How to
commands I
use Git ID? How to use the Git commit ID?
how do you
How if we want to use commit ID, go to that file with that commit ID, something, how we can use it?
have, I'll be showing you those in the coming up classes. But anyway, if you want to check any commit ID, git show this particular commit ID. Okay, only first 7 characters are enough. Do the commit ID. It will show you what changes happened in that commit. In that commit, this line is added. So it will show you all the date and everything, and the change happened in that commit. Git show command can help you see the changes in that particular commit ID.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
And also here, git log one line will show you all the commit history, right? The complete commit history. If you want to see the commits of a single file, git log, let's say I want to see the commits happened on file 1. See, it will show you the commits of that particular file. Otherwise, it will show you the commit history of the repository, entire repository, right? So those are the different ways you can check the commit history. Okay, and yeah, just now I have shown you whatever commands I have used till now. First of all, installation on Windows is present in this document. All the git commands whichever I have used were this in this document as well. Because in the video you may not be able to copy by watching the recording. So commands were also placed here. In case if you want, you can also copy them. And the architectural diagram, the presentation I have used was also present here. You can refer them and start learning. Okay. So yeah, we have learned very basics today, like git add, git commit. Yeah, like I said, you can use a notepad as an editor or notepad plus plus as an editor in real time. Okay, either you might be a DevOps person who writes some Terraform config files, Kubernetes files, or you might be a developer. Whoever you are, there are a lot many better editors you can use. One such editor is Visual Studio Code, which is very widely used. Companies are also looking for people with experience in this editor. It's just an editor. Here is the link to download this editor. Okay, it's a Visual Studio Code editor. It's not mandatory, but good practice. As we go by, we'll be working with configuration files, so it's important then. So just download it in your Windows, and once it is downloaded, just run the executable. That's it. It's very simple. It's a self-explanatory. Once you download this, you can launch your editor. See, once it is installed, this is how your VS Code editor looks like. Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, this is how your editor looks like. How do you open your folder? Go to open, file menu, open folder, open our Git folder. This is the best way to edit the files. If you are not comfortable with Vim, you can edit this. But learning Vim is very much required. In Linux, you need Vim. So practice it, but slowly later on you can practice. For now, this is the best editor. You can also launch your Git bash in this editor. Go to terminal, new terminal. PowerShell launches if PowerShell is installed in your Windows. Just wait, it will load the terminal. It was, you see from here also you can select. I just want to launch Git bash. It's taking some time to load. The same Git bash terminal can be launched here as well. Right? So you can also run all the commands. It's taking some time to launch. It's okay. Let it launch. So this is another way. See, it's very easy, right? You can edit the files from here very quickly. This also is fine. You can use this. As we progress, we'll be using this VS Code editor a lot in our course. So you can also get used to it. Not on all of them in one go. Slowly you can get used to it. It's okay. So this is how you can create the files and the editors. So now let's check the status. I made some change some time back. So what should I do? Can you help me with the next steps? Yes.
Git commit. There is second command also. I don't remember.
Yeah, what should we do now? What is the next step? Like
Git
add
commit.
and commit, obviously. We made some changes, right? So you may add and commit. I just want to show you from here, but it's taking some time for this terminal to load. Just let me open a folder again. Just let me open a new window. Open the folder. Get demo. It's okay. So you can just edit the files and modify here, or else the terminal launches. You can also run any git commands from here. It's taking some time to load. That's okay. So let me commit now. Git commit -a, add and commit. A means add and commit. Let's say file edit number 2 or whatever. Right? Now if you check the status, Yes, it was all good, right? Your working tree is clean. So these are the simple operations. And then, yeah, from here on, advanced concepts begin. Like, yeah, we have seen modifying a file, right? We have seen modifying a file. What about deleting a file? We didn't work on deletions, right? So you can delete the file, you can revert the commit. So these are all the concepts coming up, like deleting a file and then reverting the commits you do, resetting. Okay, then we have rebase. Also, we have the concept of branching. Branching is the important feature in Git, by which Git is gaining a lot of importance. This is a great feature in Git, which is making it so widely used. So branching, then merging with no conflict scenario, and also merge with conflict scenario. When you get a conflict, how do you merge it? How do you resolve the conflicts? Means multiple people, when they're working, there might be conflicts. So how to work with. Also, after the say, we are still working on local. We didn't go to remote. There is a lot many things. There are a lot many things you need to learn before you go to remote. So we'll be looking into all of them. Of course, there is something else like stash. Uh, Okay, and then we'll be talking about a remote repository. Here, your remote repository could be your GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab. Any of them can be used as a remote repository. Again, how do you commit on remote, or how do you resolve the conflicts on remote, and the rest of the things. So this is on brief. This is how we shall proceed. We shall take up from here in the next session. As it is just the first day we started the demo, this is enough. You set up your lab, install Git, get your Git bash ready, get your VS Code editor ready, do some small practice with the Vim editor, and we shall take up from here in the next session. Any questions you have? Any questions from your end? See, start doing the hands-on, okay? Recording will be posted every day. Recording will be shared on the same playlist. So you can check the recording, do the hands-on. Also go to the drive, refer for the commands and references if you have any. Still, if you are lost, if you are stuck up, you can post it in the WhatsApp group. I have already created a WhatsApp group for this batch. Any questions you have, you can post them. So that everyone also, whoever get a similar error, can also learn from there. Any questions from your end? Anything else from your end? All the registered students will be added to the WhatsApp group. Okay, whoever not registered, you can complete your registration. And once you are registered, you will be added in the WhatsApp group. And yeah, you will be getting access to the drive and the recordings from today. Whoever registered will get access from today. All right then. Yeah, we'll close here and we'll continue tomorrow. Bye everyone. Have a great day. See you all tomorrow. Thank you all for joining.
Yes, thank you.